Will the LA Sparks make the playoffs? If you look at their record 17-20, you might not think so, but the Sparks still have 7 games left in this regular season. That means they got 7 chances to win. We spoke with Coach Lynn Roberts after the game, and she says she's not going to buy it that the Sparks don't have a chance to make the playoffs. She's not going to buy it that they're essentially eliminated. But the Sparks have a lot of work to do because they could have won this game. They were up 75-74. Actually, it was tied 74-74 as Ray Stevens stepped to the free throw line, only made 1 of 2. So they're up by 1, and then the former Spark, Odyssey Sims, does them in with a floater just about right over there and gets it done for the Fever. The Fever played well in this game. They were consistent. The Fever were down by 7 after the first quarter, but they just hung in there, kept clawing, and they won the third quarter, and they won the fourth quarter, and that was the difference. The Fever were led by Aaliyah Boston. She had 22 points, 11 rebounds, and get this, 6 steals, including the steal that stopped the Sparks from getting off a shot to try to win this game. She was aided by Odyssey Sims, who had 21 points, and then Kelsey Mitchell added 12. Ariel Powers had a nice 9 off the bench, and that was about it for the Fever. They only won this game 76-75, so the Sparks had a chance. But Coach Roberts pointed out something that is probably a telltale sign of whether the Sparks were going to win this game. The Fever had 81 shot attempts. They made 33 of them. The Sparks only had 56 shot attempts, and they made 27 of them. Maybe that was the difference. Also, the Sparks started off this game 7 of 16 in the first half from three-point range, and they ended 8 of 25. So they only made 1 3 in the second half, and that is the Sparks calling card. If the Sparks aren't making threes, it's tough for them to win because that is a major part of the team's offense. So the Sparks, they got to go back to the drawing board, and they got to go back real quick because there's a game on Sunday against the Mystics. And yes, technically, the Sparks could lose that game and still not be eliminated from playoff contention because they could run off the last 6 and still end up 23-21 in the tiebreakers and this, that, and the other. But you don't want to leave it until the last game. You don't want to leave it late. You want to start marching towards 500 as soon as possible. And for me, that means you want to go ahead and win these next 3 games. And I know that might be a tall ask for the Sparks, but you got to get to 500 if you want a chance to make the playoffs. Let's be honest. At this point, you got to be 500 because the Fever, they already got 21 wins. I believe the Storm already have 21 wins. So that means they're 1 win away from 500. And yes, you have the tiebreaker over the Fever because you beat them in the series 3-1 this season. So yeah, sure, if the Fever only win 1 more game and the Sparks get to 22-22, they make the playoffs over them. But you got to think that the Fever can probably find 2 more wins on their schedule. The same with the Seattle Storm. You got to think that they can probably find 2 more wins on their schedule. So then it's coming down to the Sparks and the Valkyrie if it gets to that. But the Valkyrie already have the tiebreaker over the Sparks. So to me, that means the Sparks need to end up with more wins than the Valkyrie. And again, like 22 seems like the bare minimum, but 23 would be better and 24 would be perfect. But at this point, that means they got to win the next 7 games to end up 24-20. If the Sparks win the next 7 games, I guarantee you they're going to make playoffs. 24-20, you're in it. 23-21, you're most likely in it. 22-22, I don't know. Depends on who you're going up against with a tiebreaker. And it's possible that all of the top 8 seeds will be above 500 at this point. It's really possible the way this season is shaking out. So in this game, Azurá Stevens had a team high 17 points, and she had 8 of those in the first quarter. Again, the Sparks were up 31-24 in the first quarter. They were cooking. They were doing their thing. But just methodically, Odyssey Sims had a great game. This is a former Spark, a player who was waived by the Sparks in the middle of the season. And at some points in the game, she was going up against the player who replaced her on the team, Julie Van Loo. That's who they signed after Odyssey Sims was waived. So she had a chance to get redemption against that person. She actually had a chance to get redemption after the person who essentially took her spot in the starting lineup, Julie Alamon. So this was a really big game for Odyssey Sims. Shout out to Odyssey Sims. She did her thing in this game. But Aaliyah Boston, man, if the Fever are playing like this without Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark is traveling with the team, she's working her way back, you don't want to play them in the playoffs. Let's just be honest, especially if somehow they end up with the 8th seed. Who did they beat in the Commissioner's Cup? The Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx. And I'm not saying the Fever are a better team than the Minnesota Lynx. I will not dare say that. But they have talent. When you have 3 All-Stars, essentially, Caitlin Clark still made the All-Star team, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell, you got a chance against any team, especially in the playoffs, especially when games might start to slow down. Yeah, I know all these teams want to shoot all these threes and all of that type of stuff, but officiating changes. This was a low-scoring game comparatively for both of these teams. This was a 76-75 win. This was a game when the Fever had 15 offensive rebounds compared to the Sparks. Like, this was a grinded out win, and they got it done. And now they're getting, more and more reps with Odyssey Sims, more and more reps with Kelsey Mitchell, more and more reps with Aaliyah Boston. It's rare that Natasha Howard is going to go 1 for 8 in a game and you win it. So you should expect Natasha Howard to make more than 1 point. Or she made a couple points, but more than 1 shot. Lexi Hall probably could have played a little better. So there's a lot of potential for the Fever, but there's a lot of potential for the Sparks as well. Everything is still in front of them. And like I said, yes, it may seem like it's really, really hard to win 7 games, but we've seen the Sparks go on a winning streak. After the game, I believe Derek and Hamby said, we got to go 5-2 to get there. And that's that 22-22 target. But I still don't know if that's enough. And we'll only know at the end of the season, September 11th, if winning 5 out of 7 games is enough. If the Sparks can do that, and then it ends what it ends. But still, do you want to be, well, yes, the Sparks want to be the 8th seed, period. But the 8th seed, starting off against Minnesota, that's a tough ask. But who knows how the Valkyries finish this season? It's very, very possible that the Valkyries could not win many games. And it's still possible. You still got the tiebreaker over the Fever. If you end up with 22 wins and they end up with 22, you're going in over them. If you end up with 23 somehow, you're going in over them. So there's still a little bit of hope there, statistically. There's still a lot of hope in the locker room, but statistically, there's still a little hope there. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I want to know if you think the Sparks can make the playoffs. I saw somebody tweet me, they said, season done. I disagree. I don't think a team is mathematically eliminated until they are mathematically eliminated. But if for some reason they lose Sunday's game to the Mystics and they are then 17-21, they still technically won't be mathematically eliminated. But man, winning 6 straight when it's Phoenix and it's 2 Atlantas and a Vegas game, when Vegas takes games personal against the Sparks and it goes both ways, it's just tough. But we'll just have to see what happens. This was a game they could have won, for sure. I don't know about that Phoenix game, but this was a game they could have won, and they have to know that that is the case. They got to move forward, they got to flush it, and they got to be ready to go because they are in the midst of playing 3 games in 4 days. So Sunday's game is followed up by a back-to-back on the road in Seattle. But, I mean, the Sparks, they play better on the road. It's statistics, right? More of their wins are on the road than at home during this season. So that means you play better on the road. Stats are stats, numbers are numbers. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, I'll see y'all later. See y'all in the next video. Peace.